Let's move on to Disney. Actually, speaking of Georgia, Disney has a great relationship with the state of Georgia because of the crony subsidies that they dish out. We're going to be talking about CEO here, Bob Iger, past CEO, now CEO. Once again, they ousted the other Bob last week after disappointing earnings over the last quarter, even though they had just voted to reinstate him. Now, Bob Iger came out this week and spoke to employees. Chris Rufo got some video of it and posted it to Twitter. So let's go ahead and roll D1 here.
Here's a virtual question. Many cast members had wished that Disney stayed out of politics. Will Disney stay out of making political statements?
You know, I think there's a misperception here about what politics is. And I think that some of the subjects that have proven to be controversial as it relates to Disney have been branded political, and I don't necessarily believe they are. I don't think when you are telling stories and attempting to be a good citizen of the world that that's political. Just not how I view it. Do I like the company being embroiled in controversy? Of course not. It can be distracting, and it can have a negative impact on the company. And to the extent that I can work to kind of quiet things down, I'm going to do that. But I think it's important to put in perspective what some of these subjects are and not just simply brand them political.
Okay, so can we put up D3, please? Because a lot of conservatives were doing victory lap, taking a victory lap after this, interpreting it as the fact that Bob Iger said, to the extent that I can quiet things down on the political front, I will. They were interpreting that as him doing sort of a pivot from what his predecessor had done when it comes to politics, getting entangled in the fight with Ron DeSantis over his bill, and putting out a couple of movies that inflamed people, sort of Christian groups, conservative groups with LGBT themes. I think what Bob Iger is very clearly saying there, and it's one of the biggest problems in our politics right now, as I tweeted, the powerful proponents of this cultural liberalism, cultural progressivism, don't see taking these stances as political. And you probably agree with them on some of those things, like taking a particular stance on LGBT issues as a matter of human rights as opposed to politics. I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. I think human rights are political, and there's really no way to get around that. We've litigated that a million times in our country, and I think what he's saying is actually a great example of why this problem is going to continue to be front and center for Disney, which is that in this country, people cannot even sort of agree right now on what is basically, like, what is human rights, what is politics, what is violence. We're tussling over that right now, and that's going to be a problem going forward.
And so I think it's what you're seeing. I think there's a lot of truth to that, but I think it's a function of kind of our society's inability to do normal politics.
Agree. Yeah.
Like normal politics would be, fighting over the resources and the distribution of income, pre-post tax, like what tax rate are we going to hit the rich with? What should be the minimum wage? We feel like child poverty is a problem. We're going to deal with child poverty, and here's how we're going to deal with that. And we're going to have elections. People are going to put up ideas about how we're going to make our country a better place for everybody. Those people will get elected, they will pass laws, that will happen. Like, that's what we used to think of as politics, but our political system has stripped all of that away from the ballot. Like, you can't vote on those things.
The court will decide.
The court will decide.
Congress won't decide.
The Federal Reserve.
The president
will decide.
Right.
The parliamentarian will decide.
Department of Education.
The filibuster.
Yeah.
Like, yes, right. You don't have to pay for that. We've run out of time. Like, the system just does not deliver the things that voters give lawmakers mandates to deliver on.
And here's another really important point, and Stoller has made this about Disney under Bob Iger. Matt Stoller has made this on his Substack, Goliath, which is, or it's called Big, I'm sorry, the book is Goliath, about Bob Iger a lot, which is that he basically, under Iger, he was the CEO of Disney for a long time, transformed Disney into like a hedge fund with an entertainment, or with theme parks, because what they did was just buy up all of this other stuff, and there was so much consolidation under Iger. Similarly, while he was overseeing Disney, they filmed Mulan in Xinjiang. thanked Xinjiang authorities at the end of that film. That is where we know the oppression of the Uyghur Muslims is happening. Disney does that. And meanwhile, he says, we're pulling out of Georgia because they, he threatens to pull Disney's huge business out of Georgia. They film a lot of stuff there because, as I said earlier, Georgia does give really huge, lucrative subsidies to Hollywood. Atlanta is basically like LA at this point because it's become so cheap to film there. He said, we're pulling our business out because we don't like this abortion bill that was passed. And he'll happily do the business that he does in China.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now. And Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us. And if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.